kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. And all American citizens, I think, have suspected something like this is going on. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it? One person can do nothing, but a nation educated can do much. Why does Hollywood make motion pictures like Death Wish and Dirty Harry, always showing how regular citizens are misused and abused and tricked and deceived by their government, and then one lone guy has to stand up for what's right because the whole system is corrupt? Why do you think they make movies like that? Is there a message in that? I'll tell you why. It's very simple. First of all, these conspirators, these people, make the movies showing you what the problem is. Then they make the movies to show you what the solution is. They know that you are frustrated. They know that the people of America are frustrated because there is no law and order. But that's purposely designed. We're not supposed to have law and order yet. We're supposed to have crime and the immorality and the drugs and the murder and all the other things that we are besieged by. We're supposed to have that. If the government did not want it, it would not be here. Believe me. This is the most powerful government the world has ever known. They had the ability to get a hold on Adolf Hitler 50 years ago. He had a standing army, the greatest navy, air force, military, secret underworld organizations operating throughout the world. But this government got a hold on Adolf Hitler because it chose to and it wanted to. And if you do not pay your income taxes, they will find you if you go to the Amazon jungle, and they will make an example of you. They will find you and they will deal with you, and you know it. But for some reason they're unable to get a handle on drugs and the crime in the streets for some reason. There is a reason, and that's what we want to talk about. There is a method to the madness. You might also want to ask yourself why it is back in the early 70s, while no one was looking, NATO, the North American Atlantic Treaty Organization, changed its fatigue colors from the dark greens and dark browns, the fatigue colors or the camouflage colors, to light tan. Throughout the Western world, the colors were changed for the military from dark greens to light tan. Why? Because this government, along with its NATO allies, realized that there would be a war in an area where they would need camouflage, which would be light tan. So quietly, they changed that. They changed the color, and you didn't know anything about it. You want to ask yourself, too, where did Adolf Hitler and the communist government today get their money? Who financed Stalin? Who financed Lenin, Trotsky? Who financed the communist revolution? You might want to ask yourself, what part did American Wall Street play? The international bankers in New York, in Switzerland, in London, what part do they play in financing people like Hitler, like the communist movement, and God knows what else they're financing throughout the world? Why is it that drugs are brought into this country daily and we're not able to do anything about it? We're not able to do anything about the aliens pouring in across the border. I am here to tell you why. It is very simple. The government gets what it wants. There is a method to the madness, as we said, and we're going to explain that to you. Before we get into the older European history of Freemasonry, let's look at our own backyard. Is this a scene from Mississippi burning, or is this a picture of 1930s Ku Klux Klan meeting? Who are the men hiding behind the hoods, and why do they venerate the owl? Simple, the owl symbolizes wisdom. because it sees things in the dark. No, this is not the Ku Klux Klan or Mississippi burning. This is your constitutional government burning. Let's remove the hoods and see who came to the party. The last 2 weeks of July of every year, a secret meeting is held in our country in Northern California by the world's most powerful people, bankers, politicians, industrialists, entertainment luminaries, all overworld figures. This group, directly connected with the European ruling elites, is commonly known as the Bohemian Society. Our now famous Council of Foreign Relations, the government behind the American government, is represented here, along with members of the Bilderberger Group of Europe. A meeting held once a year to decide a worldwide scale your future, a shining example of true democracy carried on in the dark. Obviously here, your vote doesn't count. Appropriately, the owl is chosen as a symbol for this ilk, for it too is at home in the dark. The name Bohemian carries a dictionary definition as, quote, a community of persons who adopt manners, mores, conspicuously different from those expected or approved of by the majority of society and who disregard conventional standards of behavior. No wonder they want no input from you. More specifically American and even darker and equally as insidious is an organization that our own President George Bush belongs to, namely Skull and Bones, rightly understood to be America's secret establishment. The Bohemian Society, Skull and Bones, CIA, DEA, Mafia, and the IRS are just some of the groups that make up the true power behind the throne of America. Like all other kingships, America's power elite hinges on family blood, just as the power structure of the Mafia. To show that the word bloodline is not just a figure of speech, let's take a look at the actual facts. Carefully outlined here are the actual lineages of American presidents and their bloodline connected to European aristocracies of power. Starting from Edward II and III of England, 28 out of our 42 presidents were connected by blood, including President Bush and Vice President Quayle, who are also in fact related to each other. Most of the 14 not connected by blood were connected by fraternal orders used by the bloodlines, with only a few exceptions, notably in disruption, the Kennedys, seeking to disrupt this dynasty of power in America. Owing to their vast financial backing and personal intellectual charisma, and much behind-the-scenes political maneuvering by his father, Joe Kennedy, John Fitzgerald Kennedy was inserted into the presidency, the idea being to disrupt the status quo by establishing a Kennedy Roman Catholic dynasty, and thereby serving notice on the Freemasonic powers of this world of their unwillingness to cooperate and play by the unwritten rules. Justifiably feeling threatened, the established bloodlines of power in America removed the Kennedy threat. Official police records show that the John Kennedy assassination was closely preceded by and followed by as many as 100 assassinations, all of which were closely connected with the Kennedy family's rise to power. In our discussion of secret societies, Freemasonry, and occult orders in general, we want to talk about one that might be familiar to you, or perhaps you've heard about. It's called the Illuminati. We don't intend to spend a whole lot of time on the Illuminati, but just enough to familiarize yourself if you've never heard of the organization. It was founded in 1776 in the south of Germany by a man named Adam Weishaupt.